ego-fixations and liberation of personality. So what are those deepest knots? What is the way to liberating your personality, character, psychology? And what is that which veils your natural full consciousness? There are four main poles of balance at our tradition, New Humanity, Divine Marga. The four poles of balance are self-realization, number one, liberation of your personality, character, psychology. That's number two. Just like the table has four legs, so there are four poles of balance. Number three is liberation of your soul, and number four, liberation of your spirit. All these four poles are very important for balanced development, awakening, and ultimately liberation. We will overview the second major pole, which is about liberation of your personality, character, psychology. It goes hand in hand with self-realization, the first pole of balance. The main tool that is used in this second pole in relation to consciousness transmissions. This is an important point. In relation to consciousness transmissions and self-realization, we use Enneagram. If Enneagram is used without consciousness transmissions and opening to higher states of consciousness, it is very limited because it will be a simply processed through your mind, introspected, and usually a person can simply reflect on their qualities, change a few things, but they can't move much deeper and forward. When a person is awakened spiritually at inner light, it is also a useful tool, Enneagram, to become more consciously aware of how your personality, character, and psychology works. But again, a person in inner light awakening doesn't have deep access to that. A person just opened up their inner light, their energies opened up. There is a lot of things to catch up with the energy body. So it is still not yet fully the right time for Enneagram. And the ripened time for Enneagram is when a person opens to presence level of consciousness. And that's where we can then begin working deeply with your personality, character, psychology, your psyche. Because in presence, you have capacity to be beyond your energies, to access your causal body, lower causal body, your subconscious and your lower unconsciousness. In presence, you have gained access. And this is where Enneagram becomes very interesting, because this is where you can start putting into practice. No longer theory, it becomes the actual practice. Very importantly, I need to stress that in order to go beyond your present limitations of psychology, psyche, character, personality, consciousness transmissions are necessary because they increase your capacity to go beyond your limitations, beyond your present capability. A personality in itself is limited. Your character is limited. Your psyche is limited. So you can become aware of it, which is important. You can start working on it. And via the consciousness transmissions, then you can start transcending it or coming to higher levels of development. So as we know, there are 9 levels of development of your personality, character, psychology. 9 levels. The 3 at the bottom are unhealthy, 3 in the middle are average, and 3 at the top are much more rare, they're healthy. Those who awaken spiritually, they start accessing various levels of their personality and psyche. The higher levels of development are a long process of reformation of your character, of your personality, of your psychology. As a great Sadguru, Kirpal Singh, once said, making the man, man making, or woman making. It's not about genders, but it is the making of the man or remaking of your personal self. So this is not easy at all. It requires, there is a buzzword now online called shadow work. That buzzword is somewhat related to this. And then there are other buzzwords, dark night of the soul and all these sorts of things. People invent these terms right now, but essentially it's about meeting your deeply suppressed, your deeply avoided places within yourself. So it's not truly the dark night of the soul because the essence of the soul is light, but it's more actually related to meeting deeply your own psychology, unconsciousness, subconsciousness, and all the fixations of your character and personality. Shadow work, it's not about finding shadows, but actually, again, what is suppressed within yourself. It is what has been neglected, avoided, resisted, and feared. There is nobody else but you, your own suppressed corners. So the true Enneagram is a very advanced work on your ego knots, ego fixations, and ultimately liberating your personality, character, psyche. Now we will dive a bit deeper, expanding on Enneagram itself. So Enneagram is essentially about liberation of not only personality, but also character and psychology. Many times it is presented as personality types, personality this and that. However, there is much deeper aspect to Enneagram, and it has to do with character and psychology because there are these deeper levels, and we work with the deepest levels to unravel your ego self, ego knots. So a little bit of history briefly is that Enneagram originated with Pythagoras in the mystery school of ancient Greece. And this knowledge was concealed from the uninitiated. And it was passed down through generations within those mystery schools. It was very secretive and little known. More recently, in the late 19th century, Enneagram was introduced to the West through the teachings of Gurdjieff. He was a mystic, philosopher, spiritual teacher. So he brought it to the West. He learned about it in the East. And after Gurdjieff, there were others who then took various approaches to Enneagram in the West. And nowadays, there are many branches, many schools of Enneagram, and they have various degrees of focus or how deeply they go or what they focus on. So The way we work with Enneagram is at a deeper level in relation to self-realization and consciousness transmissions. So it's not only a dry knowledge, as many times it is taught in the West. Essentially, Enneagram is a tool of liberation that helps to identify 9 specific egoic masks. Identifying specific egoic masks. Personality from Latin means mask. It is masking your true identity, your true self. It is hiding your true self. Something is on top of it. That is your personality. When we are prepared to face what we have masked and justified, this tool illuminates our path without judgment of ourselves or others. Very important. Enneagram is not only for yourself, but it is a tool to drastically improve your relationships with others. It allows us to see the mechanical nature of the ego self. The ego self is very mechanical conditioning, misidentification, and we then precisely can see what is false. Thus, with awareness, with transmissions, with openings of consciousness, we allow the truth to come forth. So we could say that this tool is like a blueprint of the ego's entanglements, revealing those specific knots or fixations that need to be untangled. Thus, it is extremely helpful and assistive on the path of self-realization. It can help us to reveal the mistaken identity of the I, of the false identity. And this false identity forms in the corners of unexamined beliefs that one is merely the body with behaviors, feelings, and thoughts. This is the lowest level of way of being. So when we bring these subconscious and even deeper unconscious patterns of identification, when we bring them to the light, we can become more stronger and no longer follow the conditioned, mechanical ego self or inner workings. When we look at the human psyche, when we dive deeper, then we can have a tangible comprehension of the mind, emotions, and starting to recognize our authentic character, our natural sahaja self. Each one of you have, we could say, a key feature, which is like a segment of your egoic identity that is most challenging to see, to perceive, to find. It's very concealed, it's very hidden upon many, many layers of conditioning and veils. The combination of patterns of thoughts, emotions, and actions, they may feel genuine and real, that automatically your attention mistakenly identifies as yourself, as me, myself. We call it the ego self or the little me, the little self. It feels real, it feels genuine because these are thoughts, emotions, actions that you experience that are running inside your head and in your heart. And this is how you experience what's going on. So it seems real. However, it's very mechanical and it's based on conditioning. Paradoxically, this key feature also serves as obstruction, but also as a potential pathway to your authentic natural self, to your true essence or the true self. So by using Enneagram, especially when you reach deeper levels of presence, you can begin to identify those fixations and have access to transform them. Another important aspect is that Enneagram is very helpful for your relationships, to understand your partner, your kids, your parents, your friends and colleagues, to understand people around you. It then allows you to have forgiveness, compassion, because you then realize that they have a different type of their being, and it is okay that the way they are, it is okay the way you are. So it allows you to forgive the seemingly inexcusable behaviors. You can see those structures. When you recognize your structures, you begin to understand the structures of other person. You start to understand that they're also struggling with their conditioning, and you shouldn't blame them because they're also human beings and they also want to be happier, but they lack capacity and they behave in this or that manner. So you can then see deeper into their heart. You can then begin to truly understand what comes from their true heart and what comes just out of conditioning. And who can blame the other? Because if you're both sick, if two people are in hospital and they're both sick, you're not going to blame the other person that he's also sick. You naturally have compassion, you feel empathy. But what tends to happen in life that there's a lot of blame, there's a lot of anger. And this is due to lack of understanding, especially of conditioning and ego fixations of yourself and another. This is not what they truly want to say. This is not what they truly feel in their heart. But sometimes they act out in this unconscious behavior, just like you did before, and you never felt good. The other person is the same. Thus, when you are more present, when you are less reactive, when you have access to your own personality, character, psyche, and you are supported with this larger presence, you can begin to meet the other, their presence. That's where the real depth opens up. This is why we say that presence is laying foundation for full consciousness. The structure of foundation upon which you build the skyscraper of the full consciousness itself.